Welcome to Dirt Cheap Preps and the first video in a series of videos on these Chinese diesel heaters. So in this first video, what I want to do is I want to go over exactly what I was looking for when I picked out my particular diesel heater. Now this is what they call an all-in-one unit. They also sell what's referred to as install units, in which they don't have the outer housing here. They only have the internal components. So let me show you what I looked for when choosing which heater to buy. First off, number one, out of the gate, the controller. I think this is the number one thing you should look for when you're picking out a heater, because there are a lot of bad controllers out there. Now, I do not have a picture handy of this thing when it's running, but I will put a picture up on the screen for you to see. There are a couple of different models of controllers, very similar to this one, and there's also a lot of black controllers that have a display, and I'm going to put up a picture that has 3 fan blades on it. Stay away from any of the controllers that have the 3 fan blades on the display, and again, I'll have to show you with a picture. This one has 6 fan blades on the display, and those are the ones that are a little better. However, there's another thing about this particular controller that I want to point out that is different than a very similar controller, and that is the wrench right there. The other style has a cog or a gear, and that's obviously your options, your settings button. However, this model has a wrench, or some people call it a spanner, right there in the corner. Now, in my opinion, this is my favorite controller. I should say stock controller. There's other better controllers out there you can actually purchase, but they're expensive, hard to come by. You got to wait for them to get to you. It's better just to get something out of the gate that is going to be worthwhile. So that's what you want to look for, this blue controller here. Okay, they also make a red version, but both will have 6 blades on the fan on the display, and this particular, the blue ones, the ones I like most, have the wrench or spanner for the menu button. The red version that has the same firmware as this display does have the cog or the gear, not the wrench or spanner. So I just wanted to clarify that's the number one thing. And another thing you can look at on these is if you take a close look at the remote control here. Number one, it's black. It's not red, because some of them have a red controller. But there are 2 different black remote controls that I have seen as well. One of them for the other style of blue with the gear up there, and your up and down arrows will be solid. Okay, they'll be just solid arrows, to where if you look closely on this particular one, let me pull it off of here. If you look closely on that particular one, the arrows are not solid. They're just like wireframe arrows or outline arrows. They aren't solid. So biggest thing that I have noticed that is a blessing to me on this particular firmware is that you can change Celsius to Fahrenheit. But the thing is it gives you the rest of the gambit of options too. It allows you to get into the advanced menu options and whatnot. So number one thing, pick a good controller. Pick a unit that comes with a good controller. Number one out of the box. Size. There are 2 kilowatt and 5 kilowatt heaters. You will see a lot of advertisements for 8 kilowatt. In fact, this one here was sold as an 8 kilowatt. There's a label. I don't know how well you can see that label, but there's a, try to get my hand over here to get it to focus on it. I don't think it's going to though. But there's a label here, and on that label it will say 8 kilowatt. I don't know if it's going to focus for you to be able to see it or not. I can try to make it focus there, Chief. I think it might be doing it now. So anyway, that is That's the truth. There is no such thing as an 8 kilowatt, just so you know. It's just what they're trying to advertise them as. Now, you will also not find a heater out there that looks like this one, because I painted this and put the vinyl decals and stuff on it myself. So you're not going to find one out there that looks like this. This unit was actually white, and I didn't want a white unit. I preferred either the black ones or the red ones, but it was the only one that came with the particular controller that I liked. And I just figured, well, spray paint's not that hard to use, so I spray painted it with, it's actually stove paint, so heat resistant stove paint, and then whipped out the vinyl cutter and made it look all fancy. And just for an explanation, yeah, I know GT and SS don't go together, it's Ford and Chevy. It's a joke. The GT 5K is because these are technically 4.3K heaters. They're not 5K. They rounded up. They're technically 4.3K heaters. So that's why the GT, right? And then the SS, because as I showed you, this was sold as a 8 kilowatt heater, which those are unicorns. They don't even exist. And so therefore it's a GT 5K SS. It's a joke. That's all it is. It's a joke. But it was sold as the VEVOR brand. So the other thing, there's not a whole lot really that I look for. The main thing is in that controller. This one also came with a muffler, and these are my pieces that are on there as well. This is how I have to do my exhaust system. I will get to that in later videos. But anyway, I wanted one that came with a muffler, and I also wanted one, they call it an air silencer, but it's an air filter. So I wanted one that came with the air silencer or air filter and the muffler. And the other thing here is these terminals that are on the back of the unit. I wanted one that that had the thumb screw terminals. So it just makes it easier and quicker for hookup. A lot of the other models just literally have wires that come out of the unit for you to hook up. I wanted something a little better than that. So that's why I chose this unit. I don't have any more to tell you on how to pick a unit. Number one thing is that controller. That is a big deal because there's a lot of junk controllers out there, and all of the 3-blade on the display, all of the 3-blade controllers from what I have witnessed in the groups on Facebook and stuff like that are just absolutely prone to problems. So make sure that display has 6 fan blades on it instead of 3. And of course, I'll be flashing the picture of what those look like on the screen. So anyway, short and simple. Pick the controller first. It's like when I build a computer. The first thing that I choose is the processor. And then I build the rest of the computer around that processor. Okay, well, it's the same thing here. Find yourself a unit that comes with a decent controller. If you want the accessories like the air silencer, the muffler, you know, that's perfectly fine. But make that controller your number one concern when picking out one of these units. Hope I helped you understand something a little better. Hopefully I help you in making a good choice. Hope you have a great day. Shalom.